What's going on, guys? I'm glad that you're here watching this video. So earlier on I was creating a video on teaching people how to get started on Premiere Pro for a client. I will be making my own version so I can teach you guys as well, so be on the lookout for that. But since we're on the topic of editing, I just kind of wanted to talk about how you can start this process of editing. You know, there's a lot of different editing softwares out there that you can choose, and there's a lot of debate on which ones are better. You have DaVinci Resolve, which is free, but it's a very hard learning curve. You have Premiere Pro, which I use, that has really good workflows and quite easy for you to use, but it is a little bit expensive and you have to pay premium prices. Like if you're a student, it's like £25 a month. If you're a professional, you're paying like close to £50 a month, which is what I'm doing right now. And then you have things like Final Cut Pro, which you pay like a one-off price and you now own it and you can use it for as long as you want. There's also a lot of cheaper or free options that you can use out there. For example, Windows Movie Maker or iMovie are two great starting off points that you can use for when you're editing. And I've done a video in the past where I speak about different editing softwares that you can use essentially to edit your things, whether it's on your phone or a laptop or a desktop, Windows and PC. So make sure to check that one out. But this is just like a quick video that I wanted to talk about because I feel it's quite important for the beginning content creator, beginning filmmaker, beginning YouTuber, which is content creator as well. And essentially don't think about too much on what software you're using. Just get what software feels right at the time, whether it's free or maybe you want to pay a little bit more, and just get right stuck in there. Fiddle about with the control panels. Learn tutorials on YouTube. There's so many of them. I'm doing one at the moment for Premiere Pro that you guys can have a look at soon. So just really go out there, shoot something. Film wherever it might be. Film your mother, your sister, your brother, your dog. Put it onto the timeline or to whatever software that you choose, and just to begin to experiment with different clips, music, transition, effects, and try and create a story. One thing that I pride myself as a filmmaker is I don't like flashy transitions and lots of crisp, sharp images. You know, I pride myself on the story and the creative aspect of filmmaking, which is the narrative. So for me, whenever I'm telling a story, I'm focusing on the story. I'm not using transitions to make my images look cool or make my videos look cool. If I'm using a transition, I want it to add to the story that I'm trying to tell and not take you away from the story. For example, when you're trying to tell a story, the cleanest way possible to use a transition is the most subtle way. If people don't notice a transition in your scenes, then it's a good transition. When people begin to comment on the transition, it's typically done quite badly, in my opinion anyway. As cool as it looks, if it takes away from the story, then it's a bad transition. And just because I say it's a bad transition doesn't mean it's wrong. Take for example Star Wars. Between every location there's this awful wipe that happens that leads you into this new location. Now, the reason why they've done that is because the technology at the time was quite limited, and George Lucas was really experimenting with the technology that he could push in order to get Star Wars to where it is now. And that wipe has now become iconic to the Star Wars look. So now if you are to watch any Star Wars film, you're going to see that transition everywhere. So again, just because it's a bad transition doesn't mean it's a wrong transition. There are many guidelines to filmmaking, but there's no set rules. There's only one cardinal sin, and that's not to make whatever you're making be dull. Dull or dullness is the ultimate sin to filmmaking. And the best way to avoid that is by playing around with different angles, different movements, different acting or different story narratives in the things that you're trying to create. And no matter what you film outside, everything will always be done in the edit room. So whatever editing software that you want to use, you can to create the same thing that's in your head essentially. You know, whatever idea or story that you have in your head, you can create that in the edit room. Of course you have to go out there and film it, but ultimately that story is going to be created in the edit room if you want people to see it. So again, my suggestion is stop thinking about what's the best editing software to use or what should I use. Me, I have a very biased opinion. I'm always going to say you should use Premiere Pro because that's what I use and I think it's the best. However, other people won't have that same opinion as I do. So to me personally, just go out there and grab whatever you can, learn how to edit, and then when your skill level exceeds the editing software capabilities, then move on to something else. But when you're just getting started, you don't need to start asking, oh, what editing software should I use? Just grab whatever you can and learn how to edit. There's many YouTube videos out there that will teach you how to edit on whatever platform you decide to. So I guess my final thoughts on this is just go out there and make stuff. Edit it, experiment, put it on YouTube, put it on Facebook, put it on whatever social media platform you want to, and just let people see that you are now creating content. You are now a content creator, a filmmaker, a director of photography, a videographer, a cinematographer, a producer, wherever it might be. You just want to be out there and you want people to see your work. And with that, I guess that's it from me, guys. Thank you so much for listening to what I had to say, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.